Welcome back to Lost Touch channel. My name is Anton Bieltsin. I'm a criminal defense attorney in the Southern District of California here in San Diego. In this video, we're going to discuss bail, specifically cash bail, which is a court-determined fee that the defendant pays in order to get out of jail and await trial at home. Now, that amount of money is fully refundable, meaning that the family or the defendant gets the money back at the end of the case, regardless whether he's found guilty or innocent. Now, of course, we all know the phrase innocent until proven guilty. Now, I don't like the whole word until because it seems like there's a time limit there. As long as the time passes, you'll be found guilty. The proper way of saying it is innocent unless proven guilty. But despite however you say these words, if you can't afford bail, you'll be sitting in jail waiting for trial, even if you're innocent. So in this video, we're going to discuss bail, and then I'm going to encourage you to leave some comments on how we can improve the system. I begin this video by discussing the state bail process in a nutshell. So here's what happens. You're arrested, you're brought to jail, processed, fingerprinted, and within about 24-48 hours, you'll be brought before the judge for your arraignment. At that point, the judge will read you the official charges against you, and you will have a chance to plead guilty or not guilty. Now, of course, the vast majority of people plead not guilty at this stage because, after all, you haven't received any discovery and all you have is this complaint against you by the police. You might get a probable cause statement from the police officer, but you're not going to see any evidence against you. So most people will plead not guilty at this stage. And of course, if you hire an attorney, that attorney will suggest to you to plead not guilty. And then the judge will move on to the detention hearing. And he has three options. He can either release you on your own recognizance, he can grant bail and set the bail amount, or he can deny bail. The two biggest reasons for the denial of bail is if the defendant is a danger to the community or he presents a risk of flight, meaning that he's not going to come back to court if he's released on bail. If the court sets the bail amount, you have three options. Of course, the first option is if you don't pay this bail amount, you will be stuck in jail waiting for trial. Or you could have your family pay the full bail amount. That amount of money is going to be refundable at the end of the case back to the surety. And the third option is get a bail bondsman whom you pay a fee, and that person will post a full bail amount and you will get out pending trial. Now let's take a look at some of the statistics. $14 billion worth of bail bonds are issued each year. This is a $2 billion industry, with most profit going to bail bondsmen and the insurance companies that underwrite them. The typical bail bondsman will charge you 10% of the bond. For example, if the bond is set at $50,000, you will have to give the bail bondsman $5,000 in order to get out. Now, that fee that you give to the bail bondsman is not refundable. You're giving this amount of money to the bail bondsman regardless of the outcome of the case. And even if the charges are dropped, you will still lose that money. The typical pretrial detention in the United States is 26 days. Now, I will tell you from my experience, in the federal system, our cases typically get resolved within about 6 months. Now, on the state side, most of my cases typically go a few months before they get resolved. You'll be very lucky to resolve a case within 26 days, at least here in San Diego County. the median bail amount for a felony in the United States is $10,000. Again, from my experience here in the San Diego County, $10,000 is a very low amount of bond. The median annual income for a pretrial detention person is $15,000 a year, and a median income for the general population in 2015 was roughly $32,000. So you can already see the problem here. If your family makes $32,000 a year, it is virtually impossible for you to post bail for $10,000. That's a third of your yearly income. Now, the federal system is a little bit more lenient. Instead of using bail bondsmen, in our district, we typically see personal appearance bonds. I have a few videos discussing personal appearance bonds. This is where the surety, usually a family member, signs a piece of paper promising to the court to pay the bail amount only if their loved one, the defendant in the case, does not appear in court or violate some other conditions of pretrial release. Otherwise, we typically don't see any money transactions during pretrial release, only if the defendant violates some conditions. But again, the same problem exists. If the family doesn't have any money, well, then that person is stuck in jail waiting trial. And there are many collateral consequences that go and stem from inability to pay the bond. A number of studies have shown that a person that can't make bail is more likely to plead guilty, and the plea bargains are typically worse. Those that can't pay bail are also less likely to be found innocent at trial and usually receive longer sentences. In 2016, there was a study made in Texas that showed that people who were detained on misdemeanor charges in Harris County, Texas, found that the defendants who remained in jail were more likely to commit another crime than those that were released pending trial. Of course, think about it. If the defendant is a young offender with no criminal history other than this pending charge, if you get out, you might recognize your mistake. But if you're stuck on pre-trial in jail, you might meet and be educated by somebody with more criminal history on how to commit more crimes. So it is to our advantage to release people, those who are not danger to the community and those that pose no flight risk, out of jail to go home pending trial. And of course, we also see from studies that inability to pay bail is also correlated to higher rates of recidivism, I just mentioned that, job loss, and emotional and financial stress. There are many studies that talk about bail and how to improve the system. And if you enjoyed this video, I ask you to click like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button so next time I post, you'll be first to know. And write some comments below. How would you improve the bail system that we have in the United States?